Hello everyone, Keith here and I'm back with part 2 of the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations 1961 of part 2. I'll see if we finish it in this video. I'll leave the link with this document down in the description below, along with our PayPal. You can email us at theones@gmail.com for private consultation and stuff like that. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into it. The premise, Article 22. The premises of the mission shall be inviolable. Oh wait, I read this already. Never mind. Article 23. The sending state and the head of the mission shall be exempt from all national, regional, or municipal dues and taxes in respect of the premises of the mission, whether owned or leased, other than such as represent payment for specific services rendered. The exemption from taxation referred to in this article shall not apply to such dues and taxes payable under the law of the receiving state by persons contracting with the sending state or head of the mission. Article 24. The archives and documents of the mission shall be inviolable and at any time and wherever they may be. Article 25. The receiving state shall accord full facilities for the performance of the functions of the mission. Article 26. Subject to laws and regulations concerning zones entry into which is prohibited and regulated for reasons of national security, the receiving state shall ensure to all members of the mission freedom of movement and travel in its territory. Article 27. The receiving state shall permit and protect free communication on the part of the mission for all official purposes. In communicating with the government and the other missions and consulates of the sending state, wherever situated, the mission may employ all appropriate means, including diplomatic couriers and messages in code or cipher. However, the mission may install and use a wireless transmitter only with the consent of the receiving state. The official correspondence of the mission shall be inviolable. Official correspondence means all correspondence relating to the mission and all its functions. The diplomatic bag shall not be opened or detained. The packages constituting the diplomatic bag must bear visible external marks of their character and may contain only diplomatic documents or articles intended for official use. The diplomatic courier, who shall be provided with an official document indicating his status and the number of packages constituting the diplomatic bag, shall be protected by the receiving state in the performance of his functions. He shall enjoy person inviolability and shall not be liable to any form of arrest or detention. The sending state or the mission may designate diplomatic couriers and ad hoc. In such cases, the provisions of paragraph 5 of this article shall also apply, except that the immunities therein mentioned shall cease to apply when such a courier has delivered to the consulate of the diplomatic bag in his charge. A diplomatic bag must be entrusted to the captain of commercial aircraft scheduled to land at an authorized port of entry. He shall be provided with an official document indicating the number of packages constituting the bag, but he shall not be considered to be a diplomatic courier. The mission may send out one of its members to take possession of the diplomatic bag directly and freely from the captain of the aircraft. Article 28. The fees and charges levied by the mission in the course of its official duties shall be exempt from all dues and taxes. Article 29. The person of a diplomatic agent shall be inviolable. He shall not be liable to any form of arrest or detention. The receiving state shall treat him with due respect and shall take all appropriate steps to prevent any attack on this person's freedom or dignity. Article 30. The private residence of a diplomatic agent shall enjoy the same inviolability and protection as the premises of the mission. His papers, correspondence, and, except as provided in paragraph 3 of Article 31, his property shall likewise enjoy inviolability. Article 31. A diplomatic agent shall enjoy immunity from the criminal jurisdiction of the receiving state. He shall also enjoy immunity from its civil and administrative jurisdiction, except in the case of real action relating to private immovable property situated in the territory of the receiving state, unless he holds it on behalf of the sending state for the purposes of the mission. An action relating to succession in which the diplomatic agent is involved as executor, administrator, heir, or legality as a private person and not on behalf of the sending state. An action relating to any professional or commercial activity exercised by the diplomatic agent in the receiving state outside of his official functions. A diplomatic agent is not obliged to give evidence as a witness. No measures of execution may be taken in respect of a diplomatic agent except in the cases coming under subparagraphs A, B, and C of paragraph 1 of this article, and provided that the measures concerned can be taken without infringing the inviolability of his person or of his residence. The immunity of a diplomatic agent from the jurisdiction of the receiving state does not exempt him from the jurisdiction of the sending state. Article 32. The immunity from jurisdiction of diplomatic agents and of persons enjoying immunity under Article 37 may be waived by the sending state. Waiver must always be express. The imitation of proceedings by a diplomatic agent or by a person enjoying immunity from jurisdiction under Article 37 shall preclude him from invoking immunity from jurisdiction in respect of any counterclaim directly connected with the principal claim. Waiver of immunity from jurisdiction in respect of civil or administrative proceedings shall not be held to imply waiver of immunity in respect of the execution of the judgment, for which a separate waiver shall be necessary. Article 33. Subject to the provisions of paragraph 3 of this article, a diplomatic agent shall, with respect to services rendered for the sending state, may be exempt from social security provisions which may be enforced in the receiving state. The exemption provided for in paragraph 1 of this article shall also apply to private servants who are in the sole employ of a diplomatic agent on condition that they are not nationals of or permanently resident in the receiving state, and that they are covered by the social security provisions which may be enforced in the sending state or a third state. A diplomatic agent who employs persons to whom the exemption provided for in paragraph 2 of this article does not apply such observe the obligations which the social security provisions of this receiving state impose upon employers. The exemption provided for in paragraphs 1 and 2 of this article shall not prelude involuntary participation in the social security system of the receiving state, provided that such a participation is permitted by that state. The provisions of this article shall not affect bilateral or multilateral agreements concerning social security concluded previously, and shall not prevent the conclusion of such agreements in the future. Article 34. A diplomatic agent shall be exempt from all dues and taxes, personal or real, national, regional, or municipal, except indirect taxes of a kind which are normally incorporated in the price of goods or services, dues and taxes on private immovable property situated in the territory of the receiving state, unless he holds it on behalf of the sending state for the purposes of the mission. Estate succession or inheritance duties levied by the receiving state, subject to the provisions of paragraph 4 of Article 39. Dues and taxes on private income having its source in the receiving state, and on capital taxes on investments made in commercial undertakings in the receiving state. Charges levied for specific services rendered. Registration court or record fees, mortgages, dues, and stamp duty with respect to immovable property, subject to the provisions of Article 23. The receiving state shall exempt diplomatic agents from all personal services, from all public service of any kind whatsoever, and from military obligations such as those connected with requisitioning military contributions and billeting. Article 36. The receiving state shall, in accordance with such laws and regulations as it may adopt, permit entry and of grant exemption from all customs, duties, taxes, and related charges, other than charges for storage, carnage, and other similar services on articles for the official use of the mission. Articles for the personal use of a diplomatic agent or members of his family forming part of his household, including articles intended for his establishment. The personal baggage of a diplomatic agent shall be exempt from inspection, unless there are serious grounds for presuming that it contains articles not covered by the exemptions mentioned in paragraph 1 of this article, or articles the import or export of which is prohibited by the law or controlled by the quarantine regulations of the receiving state. Such inspection shall be conducted only in the presence of the diplomatic agent or of his authorized representative. Article 37. The members of the family of a diplomatic agent forming part of his household shall, if they are not nationals of the receiving state, enjoy the privileges and immunities specified in Articles 29 to 36. Members of the administrative and technical staff of the mission, together with members of their families forming part of their respective household, shall, if they are not nationals permanently resident in the receiving state, enjoy the privileges and immunities specified in Articles 29 to 35, except that the immunity from civil administrative jurisdiction of the receiving state, specified in paragraph 1 of Article 31, shall not extend to acts performed outside of the course of their duties. They shall also enjoy the privileges specified in Article 36, paragraph 1, in respect of articles imported at the time of first installation. Members of the service staff of the mission who are not nationals of or permanently resident in the receiving state shall enjoy immunity in respect of acts performed in the course of their duties, exempted from dues and taxes on the emoluments they receive by reason of their employment, and the exemption contained in Article 33. Private servants of members of the mission shall, if they are not nationals of or permanently resident in the receiving state, be exempt from dues and taxes on the emoluments they receive by reason of their employment. In other respects, they may enjoy privileges and immunities only to the extent admitted by the receiving state. However, the receiving state must exercise its jurisdiction over those persons in such a manner as to not interfere unduly with the performance of the functions of the mission. Article 38. Except insofar as additional privileges and immunities may be granted by the receiving state, a diplomatic agent who is a national of or permanently resident in that state shall enjoy only immunity from jurisdiction and inviolability in respect of official acts performed in the exercise of his functions. Other members of the staff of the mission and private servants who are nationals of or permanently resident in the receiving state shall enjoy privileges and immunities only to the extent admitted by the receiving state. However, the receiving state must exercise its jurisdiction over those persons in such a manner as to not interfere unduly with the performance of the functions of the mission. Article 39. Every person entitled to privileges and immunities shall enjoy them from the moment he enters the territory of the receiving state on proceeding to take up his post, or if already in its territory, from the moment when his appointment is noted, to the Ministry for Foreign Affairs or such other ministry as may be agreed. When the functions of a person enjoying privileges and immunities have come to an end, Such privileges and immunities shall normally cease at the moment when he leaves the country, or on expiry for a reasonable period on which to do so, but shall subsist until that time, even in case of armed conflict. However, with respect to acts performed by such a person in the exercise of his functions as a member of the mission, immunity shall continue to subsist. Alright, doesn't seem like I'm able to end it off here. So I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll have to make a part 3 to this. Like, share, subscribe, and have a nice day. Bye.